Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stock miner, Brian Johnson. I'm making professional trading simple. Quick word to Stuart. I got your emails, got your phone call, and I tried to call you back, got your voicemail, and you might be working. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure you're getting my emails. So please call me back. Let me know that you are getting my emails, and let's chat here in a little while. So anyway, Stuart, give me a ring. Thanks, man. Let's break into the markets. What do they do? Well, guess what? They went up today. Yep, we got kind of neutral to bullish towards the middle of the week, and that's precisely what we saw into the end of the week. And you can see here that at the end of the day, we closed very bullish on the markets themselves. Could probably drop in another line right up here towards the top of all of this, which should cut right across here. So we came right back up into a resistance area, closed the day right at or just above resistance. And so let's take a look. You can see here where we broke up over this previous resistance area, closed over this previous resistance area for the day on the Dow. If we take a look at the daily, you can see another push up on the daily for the Dow. That puts us up one, two, I don't know, arguably three, I guess, maybe 2 days after this consolidation day. And we consolidated. We had a close above the 20. I said I'd like to see one more close above the 20. We did get that, and that's when I started to get bullish on the markets. And we saw a nice run up over the last couple of days. So a nice push by the Dow. The NASDAQ did very well as well. You can see, though, that just a few days ago, this is interesting, came up and closed, really kind of touched this previous resistance area here, but wasn't quite able to get back to it. So we might see a touch of this early next week. Now the Dow's already kind of gone up and over and broke its upper resistance, so I don't know if the NASDAQ will follow. But it'll be certainly interesting to watch. You can see, you know what, let me show you something really quick here. I don't want to get into too heavy of stuff here on a Friday, but I will show you this. Kind of a shoulder, head, and shoulder pattern put in here. And you can see we broke it right back, I guess you could call it here. If I put a line right here at the 98.25 mark, kind of an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Look to that, and we did break above it. Now if we go ahead and move forward quickly to the NASDAQ, you can see that we're kind of in the same type of a scenario. We have a shoulder, a head, and now we have a right shoulder forming. The Dow has already kind of broken its inverse head and shoulders formation, and this could be setting up to do the same thing. It'll be interesting to see if it actually follows. Not uncommon to see a bunch of people exit positions at the end of a day on a Friday, especially before a 3-day weekend. Not a lot of people want to hold over a 3-day weekend. They'd rather just get back into their positions once the Tuesday market starts. And without any bad news, I don't see any reason why we don't start and continue maybe upwards a little bit more into next week. NASDAQ on a daily, you can still see we're fighting with this little dotted line I have drawn in here. It's acting as very nice resistance. And although it's been able to stay above the 20-day moving average, it has not been able to get up and over this. It's a NASDAQ. If it breaks this little head and shoulders pattern we are watching on the 60-minute, that could be the acceleration it needs to get back up into this area here. The NASDAQ on a weekly, not real pleased with the volume, but you know what? It is what it is, and it is up all week long. Bounced off this, so this still looks like a bullish pullback with a move to the upside. So this still looks bullish to me. Break up and over this area would, of course, confirm that next week. SPX on a 60, we had a nice run during the course of the week here, but not quite able to get back up, kind of in the same boat as the NASDAQ. If I draw a line right across here at the 1070 mark, you can kind of see the same thing we saw on the Dow, and that's that little shoulder, head, and little tiny shoulder pattern here. Confirmation for me would be above, maybe the 1075 area. That'll certainly be the next stopping point, followed by 1080. SPX on a daily, you can see we did break up and over. I called this line here as kind of my last line in the sand for the bears. If they were going to pull it down, they needed to move it then, and guess what? They didn't. Go fig. So the bulls continue their trounce higher, and the bears continue to cover in the hopes of eventually getting lucky and calling a top to this market. So once again, 1075 and then 1080 above that. But then we've got this upper trend line here, which could take us up towards the 1100 area eventually. SPX on a weekly, same type of a thing. We did get an actual close over that trend line, this little resistance here. So now, once again, we have a very bullish look to a weekly chart. Still kind of back in this original rising wedge that we've been watching here on the weekly. Now the next point would of course be, if you see the next candle is going to start over a little bit from this one, and that should, if it continues up next week, take us to and around that 1100 area that we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks, but weren't quite sure we'd ever get there. VIX on a daily had a huge fall today, down 4%, and even more interesting is the weekly, which the VIX was down almost 20% on the week. Look at this nice close we had at the end of last week. Very bearish looking for the markets, but I always, like I said, like to see a second candle that kind of confirms that initial move, and we did not get that. Now, for the first time in a very long time, while we have dipped below the 200-week moving average, we have not closed below it, and we did get that now. 23.46, 23.12 is where we closed. So we are now closed below the 200-week moving average on the VIX. Very interesting to see. And once again, what am I looking for? Yes, confirmation. We continue upwards next week, which by all means sure appears we certainly could. That would drive the VIX down, and we could see it retest this upper trend line would be the first area of support, followed by this green support coming across on the VIX. That would take us back into this area here, which we have not seen since September of 08. Very interesting to see these levels in the VIX as the fear basically pours out of the market. Apple on a 60-minute got my